Hey everyone, welcome to my show, My So-Called Fabulous. I'm Tiffany Blackman. How are you doing out there? My goodness, it's so great to talk to you and to see you. You can see me, right, on YouTube? I guess so. Well, it's great to talk to you today. And guess what? I have another wonderful guest in the studio today with me. And let me tell you, I've been waiting to have her for quite a long time, and the timing could not be better. Oh my goodness, everyone, welcome to my show. One of my besties, Stephanie Perry. Hey, Steph, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Tiffy?
I'm just fabulous, of course, right? Of course we're fabulous. Everything going okay with you?
Oh, yeah, it's great. Minus it's a little hot outside.
Oh, I know.
You know me in the Texas heat. Does not agree.
Okay, what is the month? It's June. Yeah, it's getting a little warm. I heard it. Oh, I thought about you because a friend told me it's going to be 102 degrees next week. I'm like, oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, my friend Steph does not like the heat whatsoever. I like the heat, can't stand it cold. So we're back. So how do we know each other? We're going to back this up. So I've told you all a little bit about myself. You know, I love fitness. I adore fitness. And you know what? I say this is fitness, but it is so mind body for me. Stephanie has been my Pilates instructor for over 10 years now. So over 10 years. So when you get up in the morning and you're the only person in Fort Worth, I guarantee you, and Austin, that will teach you Pilates. Are you all ready? I've told you this before. 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah. I'm the 5 a.m. person.
Why would you do that?
One, I am a morning person. So I would rather teach someone, well, not just someone, you at 5 a.m.
Right.
No one get any ideas, okay? 5 a.m.
No, that's it.
Right. 5 a.m. slots are all filled. Okay. Yeah.
They're done.
5 a.m. at probably any time, then do like a night. I am not a night person. So 5 a.m. it's just nice. You get up, get your day going. And, you know, it's also nice to be up and out when really no one else is.
Absolutely. You know, I've had some trainers work out. My trainer now, Sam, well, he'll only do 6 a.m. Well, you know, and that's okay. It's a choice. But I had a 5 a.m. trainer in Austin, but not a Pilates. And I'm so lucky because I'm a morning person too. I can't. When I used to teach, nighttime. I remember at one point I had to teach whatever was available. I remember I had a 9 p.m. class.
Oh my gosh! No way!
No,
9?
No. So everyone, Stephanie has D-method. And I've been taking, like I said, I've been taking with her for a very long time, 10 years. And actually, we just got Greg on board with taking.
Yes.
I know. I mean,
he's doing awesome.
I know. I'm so proud of him. But Stephanie, a D method. So we started back over to Bundios, and that's how I met you. So Greg did one class. Remember when he did one class? He was one and done, right?
Yeah, one and done.
Because he wasn't mentally ready for Pilates, and that's what we do together, Reformer Pilates. So what do you think? Greg wasn't ready then because he was training for Taekwondo belt.
Well, I think he just maybe wasn't in the right mindset. He was so focused on doing his Taekwondo, more of doing weight training. He wasn't really focused on something that was so balanced and core oriented. Because, you know, Pilates, what's so unique about it is that the whole focus of it is that you are, yes, toning your muscles, but you're working on flexibility and core the whole time. And you're working on postural alignment the whole time, which is why it's so great, especially for people. I mean, if I get so excited when someone like Kennedy's age starts it because they can truly do it their whole life. But as you know, as we age, with every decade, we start losing not only bone density, but we start losing our flexibility, and all of that can lead to injury. And so typically people start coming to Pilates because they start feeling badly. They start having back pain or the hip pain, or they start noticing they're losing their balance. And so I think, like with Greg, it was his Taekwondo teacher, right? Or his jiu-jitsu teacher that finally said, you got to do Pilates. I see what Tiffy's doing. This is really going to help you. And so then he finally got on board, and now he loves it.
He loves it.
Right?
He does love it. And I'm going to get into how he's taking and everything, but he does love it. And I agree. He was so into, and you know, you grew up Southern California.
Yep.
And
San Diego.
Very much fitness. That was your life. Yep. I mean, very I read where your parents, you were going on a vacation, and it's amazing. I've known this woman for 10 years, but I didn't know anything till I read her bio. Oh my gosh. So sorry. But, you would go on vacation and they would pull over the side of the road and let you just wear yourself out.
Oh yeah.
Cause you're an active person, even if God's
always been that way.
Yeah. Always been that way. So that brought you to your love of fitness. And back to Greg, I think it was that. I don't know if you remember this. No pain, no gain. Okay. Yeah. That's not the scoop any longer. I mean, when I work out with my personal trainer, it's not a no pain, no gain, but I've been there. And that's why I came to Pilates in the first place, because I was injured. Remember my neck?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah. So I turned to Pilates, and I had the injury in my neck. And you all know this, that we've talked about this, the injury in my neck and the injury in the back. And you guided me through that. So how does having a person with an injury, does that ever scare you? Or
it doesn't now, Tiff. As a new teacher, it sure did. As a new teacher, it would have probably petrified me, and I would have gone over all of my, got all my manuals out, would have talked to my mentors and said, oh my gosh, okay, let me review everything. Let me review all of my anatomy. But now, I've been doing this 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe that? 20 years.
No.
I can't believe I'm old enough.
You can't even believe you're 20, right?
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
Gosh.
So
right.
20 years I've been at this. And so with that time, I've worked with so many bodies and so many people that, to me, it's like a great challenge. I love that. It doesn't, because when you understand the body and anatomy and exactly, then, okay, it's like a puzzle. It's like working with the puzzle. I know exactly what the objective is, what we need to work on, what things we need to not do, what things we need to strengthen, what things we need to stretch out. And so when I look at it that way, it becomes really easy, and it's not, and then it makes it very approachable.
Right. And growing up, you had a passion for sports as well. So, and fitness across the board.
Yeah.
And then at one point, didn't you have an injury or something?
I did. Yeah. So I grew up doing competitive soccer and gymnastics, and I actually had a really bad injury dismounting off the beam. Oh. And so when I was a senior in high school, and so at that point I helped coach the JV team. And that's when I actually had a little brief stint in lacrosse. I was a goalie in lacrosse.
Oh, for love. Are you joking?
No, I was the only person crazy enough that they talked into being the goalie. They had a new team. They're like, hey, she's injured. Who can we get to be the goalie? I'm like, me, I'll do it.
I'll do anything.
Bruises like this big all over me. Terrible.
Gosh. Okay.
And so, yes, so so I did have an injury. And so Pilates did help me rehab through that.
So, okay. So you at some point decided, we talk about this, from Southern California. You came to TCU.
Yes, I sure did.
I mean, Kennedy has so many California sorority sisters and classmates. It is amazing the number of Californians that come to TCU. So you came to TCU and you didn't leave. You're still here. Well, dot.
Exactly. Dot.
Give us a minute. So yeah, you didn't leave. So what was that? I mean, wait, did you meet Steve, your husband?
I did.
At TCU?
Sort of.
You're a cougar, though.
I am. I am. Yeah. I must confess, it's true. Yeah.
She's a cougar. Okay. Tell us about that. So you came to TCU.
So first of all, TCU has a huge recruiting stronghold in Southern California. So that's why a lot of San Diegans go. Specifically San Diego, LA a little bit, but specifically Southern California goes to TCU. So went to TCU, met Steve, and how I met him was I pledged 80 Pi. So we had our first party coming up, which is called Victory, and I needed a date. Didn't know anyone. Now I would have just gone by myself probably, but back then, I thought, no, I need a date, need to have a date. And one of my pledge sisters said, oh, my boyfriend's best friend, he's this guy named Steve. I really think you'll like him, but he's a year younger. He's still in high school. Does that bug you? I thought, that's fine.
You were a sophomore?
I was a freshman.
Okay.
So a year difference. Right.
You weren't a senior.
Yeah.
Nasty.
So I was 18 at the time, and he was he was 16, 17, yes.
No, I can't. I can't even.
So I went to her parents' house. I guess they all got together and get ready for this.
Because he couldn't drive.
They watched WWF.
No.
Yes.
You're joking.
No.
Okay.
And so I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Is this a costume? I don't get it. So we all got together and I saw him and I was like, oh, he'll do. He's cute. And he'll do. He's good. So he left and I called him up and I said, hey, don't know if you remember me. And he's like, yeah, just met you. And I'm like, do you want to go out with me to this party, Victory? And he said, yes, I'd love to. So I'm all good. Get my dress. My roommate was a Zeta. She had her Victory that night too. So I'm all excited. Have my hair appointment. He calls me and says, hey, Steph, I'm so sorry, but my mom, she says that I can't go. And I'm thinking, what?
Trouble.
I'm like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
You just don't
mind.
like me. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm not thinking his mom really wouldn't let him go.
Right.
And so I'm just like, okay, moving on. So I get set up with the pie cap.
Okay.
And
wow.
I'm like, okay, blind date, get set up. So fast forward to the day of the party, and I'm all done up, hair done, cute little dress and everything. I call the pie cap like I'm supposed to figure out where we're supposed to meet. And he says, Steph, I'm so sorry. We had a miscommunication. I can't go. And
What?
I just said, what? What do you mean? And he said, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. And I just said, oh, don't worry about it. So there I am. I'm stood up and I was too embarrassed to go by myself. So I do what you do. I order pizza. I'm like eating Oreos, feeling sorry for myself. Ice cream. My roommate's at her, off at her thing. And the phone rings. So I'm sitting there bawling, feeling bad for myself. And, the phone rings and it's Steve. And he's like, what are you doing home? I said, oh, I just decided not to go.
Oh,
and
gosh.
Of course I wasn't going to tell him.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I was just going to ask you out for a date this weekend. And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe he really does like me. And so we ended up going out. His mom truly, really wouldn't let him go. Because I was a college girl.
Yeah.
His mom just wouldn't let him go to a college party.
Well, of course not.
Right. Think about it.
Yeah,
Kennedy was like in high school.
Yeah, no.
Would you let her go to?
Not to Victory, no.
So that's how it started. We each dumped each other once in our first year of being together. And then,
And then he went to TCU, right?
He did, but not until much later because he's the first person in his whole family to go to school, to go to college. So he worked his way. He worked at Del Frisco's. I mean, so many jobs, and that's a whole other story. But so he went part-time at TCC. And then when we got married in California and lived there for a bit, he went to junior college there. And then he finished up at TCU. So I think he graduated, Tiff, maybe it was 2013.
Okay, gotcha.
Something like that.
Wow. Okay.
So it was quite a ways.
If he's the first to go to college, he knocked it through the ballpark because he is Dr. Perry
Dr. Stephen
now.
Perry.
Dr. Stephen Perry, everybody.
Yay.
Okay, so, we're jumping all over the place. We're going to get back to Pilates. But,
cheers to that.
Oh, yeah. So, and Kennedy and I were talking about this last night. It is, so you and Steve, okay, I have a commuter marriage, but not like you had a commuter. You don't have a commuter marriage any longer, but your commuter marriage, I mean, I've watched you for 10 years. He went to med school. He went to Chicago. He's been everywhere during his, leading up to his career. And tell us about that. Like how, and we're going to really unveil something here in a little bit, but how was that? Because Greg and I are good at commuter marriage. I adore him and I'm so excited to see him. He leaves Wednesday, comes back Saturday. But I've watched you through all this. It's been tough. You went through a change in your career, shift in your career because he graduated TCU and then went on to med school. Tell us about med school.
Well, so he went to the University of London, St. George University of London, which, yes, is in Europe, but he went to school on the island of Cyprus, which is by Greece. So it's actually its own country. Cyprus is. It's half occupied by Greece and half by Turkey. And that came to be because he was just obviously, since he graduated a little bit later in life, was ready to go. They started this new program and it was by a very respectable university. His TCU advisor brought it to our attention and Steve talked to me about it and said, honey, what do you think? And I just said, you know what? Go for it. Let's do it. Because we just kind of thought, we can do it. Why not? I mean, this would get him, he had already decided what he wanted to do. And, you know, Tiff, he had been my biggest cheerleader for everything I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, from starting my own business to everything. And so I kind of felt like, okay, this is his thing now. And he also, I mean, it would give him a chance to live somewhere different. And we knew that we could do it. I mean, but he also, at the same time, he gave me veto power until the second he walked on that plane.
Wow.
And it wasn't easy. I mean, we would see each other every 4 months, and we would have Skype dates. I mean, I would get all dressed up, and you know, we'd have dinner together over Skype, and just, you know, you just gotta be creative. And
did you think about going with him? Because at what phase was this? What the
this was actually medical school, so the first 2 years.
Yeah. So that you were was that pre? Where
that was
were you?
Pre-D method. So I was at Abundia's.
Okay, so pre-D method. So you were there, but was it an option? Did you think about going?
So not really, because I mean, practical. Someone had to pay the bills, right?
This is true.
We had a house, and then I was, I mean, financially supporting us. So for that reason, no. If I would have done that, we would have had to take out so much more in student loan debt. I mean, he has some, of course, because going to med school is insanely expensive, but and he couldn't work during that time, so we would have had to take out massive amounts of loans in order to do that. And I wouldn't have been able to work there because you can't, you're on a certain visa to where I couldn't have worked. And so I would have been miserable there.
Right.
And so it was the right decision, but you know, it was crazy because I got really judged for that, which I wasn't expecting. People were very judgmental of that I didn't go.
Oh, gosh.
So, you know, we made it through that. And then when he was in Chicago doing his rotations for 2 years, that was easy. That was just plain fun.
That's the Southwest.
Right. Because he was, you know, that was a Southwest flight. I would go up once a month, just fly up on the weekend.
Right.
I mean, that was like no big deal. That I kind of looked at that like we had 2 places to live.
Exactly.
You know, so that was, you know, easy. And then when he got into JPS, it was just like, oh my gosh, we did it. Okay, now we actually
made the
live in the same. Right, exactly.
I know. You know, and when you went to work for JPS, and I mean, it was just so nice because now you have somewhat of a dual income, correct?
Right,
I mean, oh my gosh, right? You're carrying the weight of the world, but that's what you do in marriage. That's what it's a give and take, 1,000%. So when I remember when he was over there, I mean, okay, so he graduated. Now what world crisis were we dealing with at the time? Because he had graduation and he chose not to go to the ceremony. What was that? ISIS? Because you were going to go, and look on YouTube now. She's white hair, beautifully white. And he was like, if you go, Steph, I mean, because it was a volatile time, right?
It was. There was the big financial crisis in Cyprus. Don't you remember that? And
yes.
There was the whole, like, oh my gosh, it was the Russian bank thing. Yeah. You know, like the
Greg
whole,
would love
that. I was going to say Greg.
Greg would love that.
Greg, shout out to Greg.
Shout out to Greg when there's Russians.
But no, they were like money laundering. So they had basically shut down all of the banks in Cyprus. And I think literally, I may be remembering this incorrectly, but I think what they did was the government literally took everyone's money that if you had over a certain amount, I don't remember what the amount was, but if you had a certain amount above a certain amount, let's say it was $50,000, anything over $50,000, the government just seized and took. And so, because they were trying to get at the Russian, like mob money, like that was in there.
Then there's that.
It was kind of it was a tumultuous.
So
time.
Steve made the decision not to walk at his graduation. You were encouraging him to go, and he's like,
I wanted to go. And he's like, no, we're not doing that.
We can't hide you.
You look Russian. Yeah.
White hair.
Seriously, everyone thought I was Russian.
No joke, people.
They did,
seriously,
really.
Yeah. And so he was, we can't hide you. I mean, there's no possible way we could mistake
kidnapped.
you look like I'm married to a Russian. Oh my gosh. So hence he didn't do that. And so working at JPS, I know. So, okay. So go back to TCU. You graduated with you were literature and psychology, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Literature and psychology. Did you think about doing sports at all? Like sports management or nah?
No, originally, my plan was to be a psychologist. So I was planning on going to get a master's in psychology. So I have a bachelor of science in psychology. And so that's what I was thinking I was going to do until I kind of realized that I would be behind a desk all day.
Oh.
And I thought,
no,
that is not going to work for me.
Not with your energy.
Yeah, I've got to be kind of like pacing, I've got to be walking. And so during that time, I had already become certified in Pilates all throughout and I was just teaching on the side just for extra money, and I thought, maybe, I can do this and make this a career. And I will never forget when I chatted with my parents about this, and they're thinking I'm working on applications for a master's program. And I said, hey, Mom and Dad, what do you think? I said, I know most people don't make this a career, or I know most people full-time in the fitness industry is like 25 hours a week. I said, but what if I actually do this like full-time, like 40, 45 hours and really make a go with this? And my mom and dad just said, well, if anyone can do it, honey, you can do it.
Wow.
Go for it. And so I just kept working part-time little jobs while I was building up my client base, and slowly but surely I would quit those jobs as, I would bring in enough income teaching, and eventually.
Here we are.
Yeah.
I know. And that's amazing. So if I can't even explain it, because me with my new business, you have helped me so much. I see you in the mornings at 5 a.m. and see you a lot. And, you and Greg remind me so much of each other because you're such smart business people. I mean, you're just.
Oh, thank you.
I'm serious. I mean, but I have so much emotion and not that you don't have emotion, but I put so much emotion into my business, like unnecessary drama in my head. You know what I mean? You are the one that pull the Band-Aid off, get it done. You make the decisions that make sense. Does that make, I mean, and that's a huge compliment, because my husband's the same way. I will give him a business issue I'm having and he'll go, this is what you should do. I'm like, but wait, what about so-and-so's feelings? That's not paying the bills, Tippy. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's interesting that I can imagine your parents definitely said that to you, and you did it. So where did you go? So you graduated, and then what was the studios that you worked?
Sure. So my very first studio, and I will credit this woman so much with being my very first teacher, Zoe at Pilates at Dancescape. She was the one who did my training. And so that's where I was to start with. And that's when I first saw the equipment for the first time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do that. Yes. Because originally I was just doing mat work at a place it was called, oh my gosh, it was on Magnolia, and it was called Soul something. I'll think of it, but it was great. And so, where Jacqueline used to teach there.
Yeah.
I'll think of it. I'll think of the name of it. But anyways, so I was there first, and then I started the bar program at Urban Yoga, which was great. And that was kind of my first little taste of doing something on my own, creating something on my own. And then that's when I moved everything to Abundios, because I was able to, at Abundios, not only take the whole bar program that I created, but then purchase my own equipment, and it was sort of like my testing ground for opening up my own business, because I was able to just lease space out and be my own boss, have employees, do that whole kind of thing. It was kind of a great practice kind of run for having the business. And then I, opened up the studio. I also worked with TJ at No Quitters for a while, which was great. Yeah, yes. I love TJ. Oh, so great. He's always been so supportive of me.
Great guys. So those of you that do not know, and those that you do know, Pilates mat and Pilates reformer, and of course chair and tower. I'm learning more and more every day. The difference between mat and then reformer is?
Well, very different. So the mat work was actually never intended to be done by itself. So the mat work was intended to is obviously done without any equipment. And so the mat work, you're just using your own body weight as resistance. It's still great. It's still very hard. You go through a lot of the similar movements, but it was designed to be done as like a supplement to your equipment workout. It was never supposed to replace any of the equipment workout. It got popular because, of course, gyms could offer it, because they didn't have to buy any equipment, right?
True.
And it's also a lot less expensive to get certified in it, to get certified in reformer, chair, any of the big certifications programs, you're talking about between anywhere from $35 to $6,000. To get certified in mat is maybe $300 to $500.
Right. And it takes a long time to get reformer certified, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it like a year program plus hours?
Usually it is. Yeah, 1 to 2 years it'll probably take if you're going with a reputable, place.
It's not a weekend thing.
No.
No.
Mat work is usually mat work is a couple weekends.
Like a certification. But, so you moved to over on, where are we? Not Rosedale. What's the road? Hemp Hill.
Yes.
So you're over at Hemp Hill at D Method. So open. I love, I've talked to you about your ears off about branding and most beautiful brand, your blue color, the D Method. You started then at one point. So you have D Method. Then you go in and you go into the other components that create your business. Explain to that. It's about the bar and the bounce and all of that, and how you're a great businesswoman. I don't know if you're a dreamer or what you are, but go ahead.
Well, so I'm not really a dreamer. I'm a very calculated. It's funny. Someone described me as a risk taker, and I've never thought of myself that way because I feel like I'm a very calculated risk taker. I don't ever take risks if I don't feel like I can do it. I've got to have all the evidence to back up my decision. So I'd been doing Pilates forever. That's what all my basis is in. And then about, we're talking about 13 years ago is when I started doing bar. So back then is when I'm sure pretty much everyone's familiar now with quote bar classes. Sure. And at the time they were starting to get popular. They were just franchises around on the market. Bar Method, Pure Bar was starting to be popular. And I just did not like the way that they were teaching. They were teaching in a way that I didn't particularly agree with, in a postural type that I didn't really agree with. I didn't like that there wasn't an element of cardio in it. And so I thought to myself, well, instead of doing their certification, what if I just start my own thing? Can I do that? And I looked into it and found out, in fact, I could, but I had never taught that way. I'd never taught to music before. I was terrified. And so I worked on it for 2 years. I traveled all around the country, taking all different things, pulled from all different types of fitness, things that I loved. And I will never forget, I taught my first class in urban yoga, and it was on Labor Day. They do like a free day of classes. A lot of people in the area do. It was packed, like 45 people packed into this little room. I was like shaking. I was so nervous, and people loved it. Wow. And so that's how that was born. So that became really popular right away. People loved it. They got great results. So it was the perfect cardio complement to all of my Pilates clients. And then I had a lot of people that were coming just for that. So then fast forward a few years later, I wanted there to be an element of detoxing in D Method. And so I was thinking about it like, okay, what else do I love to do? And right away I'm like, well, I've always loved jumping on trampolines. Loved it. Literally, I would sleep on them growing up, have sleepovers. As an adult, we had a big one in our backyard. Steve was like, I'm the only husband that probably comes home and says, this is what I see my wife doing, like jumping up and down. Like there she is, like jumping in the backyard. So,
right.
So I started researching that, and that's how I started my relationship with Bellicon, which are the best rebounders in the world, made in Germany. Their benefits are just fantastic. All the medical research is done on the Bellicon rebounders. And so that's how I launched that class. And so that's how D Method became kind of like the trio of Pilates, bounce, and bar.
Okay, so it's Pilates, bounce, and bar. And so that so the Bellicon with a C. Okay, so the Bellicon, because I've watched you do this, it's not springs.
No, they're bungees.
Yeah. So the impact on your joints
is like none. Yeah, it's really great. It's like it cushions you so it's great. And it's really great for lymphatic drainage. So I've actually had doctors, oncologists, when people are going through chemo, refer their patients directly to me or to the studio because they want them to be doing work on Bellicon specifically.
Wow.
Because it's so great with lymphatic drainage.
Oh my goodness. Are you
and
kidding?
so, yeah, Bellicons are just absolutely great. And what's really crazy too is if someone's just wanting cardio, wearing like heart rate monitors and doing stuff, just like going time for time, you burn so many more calories on it than jogging or running. And it's so much more fun. You're on it and you're doing a fun class and you don't even realize it's gone by. So I do that. And then I'm a master trainer for Bellicon in Chicago. So I go there and film videos and it's lots of fun. I've loved it.
I know. I've watched you do that for years, and you go and do the videos and all that fun stuff. That's so great. Now, when I have watched you, didn't you switch from pink bungees to blue? Finally,
I did. So
because her color's blue, people. Yeah. So she's got the blue for D method. So yeah. So tell me about, I've talked to everyone about this time after time, and you've watched me go through this in the past year, is branding my business. And you've coached me so much and helped me with that for sure. But branding your business, because you're at a point in your life right now, you are moving on.
Yes.
You are moving on. And I saw Shane the other night, your husband.
Yes.
I saw Shane, and he said this, and it's really, I don't know if it's haunted or resonated with me or slapped me in the face, but he just sat there and he's sad. And he just said, "Can you believe Stephanie's leaving?" And part of me was like, no, I can't. Cannot, not going to believe it till she leaves. And then I said, yeah, I can. And then Kennedy last night said, "Mom, that marriage deserves that, to move on." So what you're doing is now with COVID, we had to go virtual with our lessons. Stephanie was so sweet to let Greg and I take one of the reformers and chairs for the 3 months that we were out. And if you would have told me, because I love my 5 a.m.s with you, if you would have told me, nah, you're not, we're going to train virtually, and you're still in the studio, I would say, you're crazy. I'm not about to train virtually without you by my side. So we've had a lot of conversations in 1 or 2 sentences that I've said, but you have made the decision to move on. So tell us what's going on in your life. And I'm so happy for you. I'm sad, but I'm happy.
Thank you. That's, I think, been everyone's sentiment. So back up a little bit to what we were talking about before. I know we talked about Steve, so he's been on this journey. He was in medical school and now he's been in residency at JPS, and he just finished. Well, he's about to graduate and he was offered a job in Sonoma, California, in wine country. And I'm from California, and we just thought long and hard about it. And we made the decision that we were going to take the job and move there. And our original plan was not to move until later on, till maybe December, January, but then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And so we really had to kind of think on our feet. And so here I was with the studio being totally shut down. And so that's when I made the decision. I thought, okay, what if I offered to just hand deliver reformers and chairs to some of my clients that I know really want to keep training, you being one of them. And so there was about 25, 30 hours a week of people that, did that, and maybe they'll want to keep training, and they did. So that kind of blossomed into my next business venture when we realized it wasn't just a week thing. It wasn't just a 2-week thing. We were closed for almost like 3 months.
Yes, we were 3 months.
A long time. And so then I thought, okay, well, this is working. It worked,
It did work.
even though I wasn't there, we still had a great time. I could talk you through everything, even though I was sitting on my couch drinking coffee,
right? But
I could talk you through everything. You still got a great lesson. And we realized that it worked. And so meanwhile, because of all of that, Steve got offered to start his position earlier instead of waiting till the end of the year. And everything just lined up. And so we made the decision to move earlier and to move out to California. So we are moving July 1st, which is so soon. But
it's less than a month now.
I know, less than a month. I know. So, but we're so excited. It's the writing was on the wall. It's like everything kind of happened. And, it's one of those things when you almost feel like, the decision already was the right one. But then all of these things, it's like, what is that phrase? when it's like someone kind of knocks
Yes.
gently and then they slowly keep knocking harder and then they're hitting you over
On
the head,
right.
and that's kind of what I felt like was happening.
Yeah. And so Paul and I have talked about this with COVID for time after time after time. As down and depressed as we all got, silver linings do come out of COVID. And honestly, when we had the reformer at our house, I mean, Greg and I were ready to go back. Oh, obviously we were taking the reformer back to you. We did all our lessons. I'm 3 days a week. Greg's 2 days a week. He was 3 days a week.
Yeah.
But we were ready to go back. And then when we were talking about this change in Steve, and I just remember going, she's not leaving. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if you really would have been so. Right? I mean, you wouldn't have been able to test the waters and see
exactly
your group of people, myself, Lisa, Mary, all of us that are doing this. And it was like, it can be done and you're going to do it.
Yeah. And I'm doing it.
I mean, I just can't believe it. I still talk about this and I still can't believe it. So it's exciting. So, I mean, do you feel like, and this is for all of you in business out there, because I have a couple of things in my career that I've done it. I've done it. Do you want to go out there and set up shop again and do the same thing and put that footprint in Sonoma? I mean, never say never.
Yeah.
But what would be your gut?
My gut right now would say be no, because I would say, okay, I've been there. I've done that. But not to say that I won't again. I could see myself consulting. I'm really interested in the idea of consulting and working with people that have a studio or helping them set up, because I feel like, and now correct me, I'm interested to see if you agree with this, Tiff, because you've seen me in working, is that I feel like kind of my particular unique gift is being able to kind of see what works and what doesn't and what helps clients feel connected to a space and what helps clients, like what builds community. And I think that's what was so special about D Method, is that it's not just a place you go to work out. It's a place that fosters like community. Right. And I think that's what ultimately keeps people coming back to a place, because they can work out anywhere and they can get good instruction anywhere. But what's going to keep them coming back to an actual physical location is because they feel connected to a place.
1,000%.
Right. And so I feel like if business owners or studio owners can get that, and can do little things, and they're not necessarily things that are expensive or that even cost things, but just little things like that, to implement things like that it would make a huge difference in their bottom line. So that I'm interested in doing that. Don't really know if that field exists, but
you don't know.
I'd be interested in getting into that.
We have a friend, a friend that Dakota that started going. Well, I think she might have had a class pass or something, and she went and she had visited many. She's not from Texas, but she has visited many fitness studios and Pilates and so on and so forth. And she said to me, she came in and did the 6 a.m. bar class, and she goes, I walked in studios before and I just don't feel welcome. You're in their spot, you're in some, and I get it, because I was an instructor one time and people walk in, that's my spot.
Oh, that's my spot.
That's my spot. I mean, and you're like, oh my gosh, oh no.
Sorry.
And she said, I've never felt so welcome and such a community. Like they welcomed me in. Oh, just scoot over, and I get it. If you've been at a spot for 10 years, I mean, come on. But yes, I do think that's a thing. 100%. When to have the wine parties, when to have the vendors come in. You celebrate you celebrate your community. You did a focus on me when I started my business. You just celebrate everyone, and that's a gift and it's a talent, and not everyone has that. Well,
because ultimately, at least my philosophy has always been, everyone wants to feel heard and feel like they're noticed. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm going to notice if you are always in my 8 a.m. class and you saved me, if I notice you're a little bit off, I'm going to notice that you're off, and I'm going to text you and ask you about it.
Why? Yeah.
Because that's just being observant. But that's what, and that takes 30 seconds of your time.
Right.
But that's what we all want. Everyone wants to feel like they someone notices them.
Right.
Right.
You know what? And I think, you have had, and we've talked about this before with teaching, and I taught aerobics and screaming, and you're in a microphone and the voice, if I still did what I did for many, many years. And I mean, I was an instructor to make extra money. That was just, it wasn't my career, but I was to make extra money. And, your voice, you started having vocal issues a few years ago. And, maybe this, it's just time. I mean, because you are a talker, you explain, you explain movements and motion so well, and count. I can count. I'm the counter in the group. I count everyone. But
she does, otherwise, don't let me count. No, you'll be doing it till Tuesday.
That's what Greg said. Yeah. He goes, I mean, she keeps saying 8 more. I went, you got to count yourself, goofball. I mean,
don't let her count.
Don't let her count. So, just the voice. I mean, protecting your health as well,
that's
right?
True. Yeah,
I know. So, missing Texas? Will you not the people, but will you miss Texas? The heat. God, she hates heat.
Yeah, I'm allergic to the heat. So
yes, she is allergic to the heat.
It's true.
Not me.
It's true. Yeah.
No, not at all.
I'll miss the people. I'll miss the people in the community. And I'll miss certain places, but I what's great about where we're moving is it feels like Texas, like the people, everyone's very friendly in the same way that people here are.
Right.
But it'll be interesting to see, but we'll be back because Steve's family is here.
Oh, that's right.
So we can come back whenever. And since I'll be working part-time and doing virtual, I can work from anywhere now.
Right.
So I can just pop on a plane and be like, hey, Tiffy, surprise, want to do your lesson in person?
Yes, I do. Okay. All right. So after we've been through COVID, everybody's been through COVID together. So you got your hair done today.
I did. 2 days ago, actually.
Oh, yeah.
It
2 days ago.
Good, though.
That's why
I'm just saying it does.
I mean, telling you. So did you let your nails go?
I did. So now they're like natural. And so I've got to,
Yeah. I mean, you are natural. Are you going to keep?
Yeah. No, probably not. I don't know.
No.
No, I got to get going back.
I know.
With them.
Look at me. I got my nails done. I mean, I couldn't stand it, people. It was just like being COVID. I mean, I'm not the one with the band of gray hair here. You know what I mean? I'm the one with sparklers at July 4th. I am celebration on July 4th. But when I went last week or 2 weeks ago to see Rory in Austin, my hair guy, and he was just looking at me like he's shaking my head. I'm like, it's so bad. It's just so bad. He went, girl, no, you don't have a skunk. So just, yeah, exactly. So, So speaking of Rory, so something that you promised you were helping me do, and we just haven't done it yet. We haven't found the one. I need a husband.
You need a husband.
I do need a husband.
She
has a fabulous husband.
My Shane. Shane.
If you don't know what a husband is, it's a gay man. That's your husband. It's a husband. And
Shane's
I don't
my
have
husband.
one. I know. He's so precious.
He's the best.
Yeah, he is
I
the
love
best.
him
He's the best. So Shane, I'm going to get him on here one day.
Oh, yeah, you should.
So, I mean, you've been close to him, and you've had previous husbands too.
Sorta. Yes.
Yes, kind of. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have a funny story. Okay, this
funny story,
everyone.
This is really funny.
Okay, this one. Okay. So once upon a time when I met Steffi many years ago. So Kennedy was 9-ish. And I wasn't even taking Pilates yet.
There may or may not have been margaritas involved in this story.
We were at Joe T. Garcia's. So Kennedy and I and Greg, and then Stephanie and her husband at the time, Talent. Okay. So we get to the car, and Kennedy is young, and she says to me, and she goes, Mommy, is that Miss Steffi's husband? I said, who? And she goes, that guy Schlong. I'm like, and Greg and I just look at each other, and I went, who? And she goes, Schlong, that guy.
Schlong.
And I went, oh, I'm just not, no, that's like her brother. That's her brother. That's not her husband. That's so. And then I proceed to see Steph, I don't even know how long ago. And I said, so, I told her this story and it was hysterical. So we always refer to this gentleman as schlong.
Schlong.
Yeah. So, and if you don't know what a schlong is, go to the Urban Dictionary.
Yeah. Look up schlong.
Look up schlong. So.
Don't just put it in Google, guys. Like don't do that.
Speaking of schlongs, you were coming here today.
Oh you guys.
Mm-mm.
Oh, quite the surprise. I live downtown and I was getting on the freeway onto 183 and past the gas station, look over and there's a gentleman in kind of like no shirt on. At first I thought it was just a white tank top, but he was, nope, no shirt on, but he is like my color. So it was hard to tell. And so no shirt on and buttoning down his pants. And I kind of like, pulling down his pants unbuttoned. And I kind of look, do a double take. He's pulling his pants down. And I thought, oh, there he was, schlong out and everything.
Oh my gosh. No.
Yep.
No.
I almost had a wreck.
Well, I was driving and it came over to it came over my Bluetooth and it said, I went, wait, what? Wait, you saw, and I had to wait because I couldn't text and drive it. I was like, you just saw a schlong? Like you actually saw him on the side of the road naked? No, I'm talking about the body part. Oh, yeah. Okay. I got you.
No, not him. Yeah.
Not him particularly. I'm like, that's where we've come to. Okay. Yeah. Right. I get you. Okay. All right. So you're going to California. So what are how are you? You have the most adorable home that you're renting.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait.
Tell me about this house.
Oh, so gorgeous. It's on a corner lot, fruit trees. So there's lemon trees, orange trees all in the front, 4 bedrooms, built in 1923, all hardwoods. I'm going to have a room downstairs that's going to be my studio where I'll do all my virtual lessons. Maybe see people in the house. I don't know. We'll see. Not sure. But
do you know anyone there in that town?
Not necessarily in that town, but right across the mountains in St. Helena and in Napa Valley, we know a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
So, because my best girlfriend, Helen, her family's up there with Beulah Vineyards. So, we know them really well.
So, how far is it? 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes over
easy.
there.
Just a little hop over the hill.
How fabulous. But she lives in South Carolina.
South Carolina now, yes.
But still her family's over there.
And so we know them really well. But 20 minutes to the beach.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. So she's still going to teach me at 5 a.m.
Oh, yes. 5 a.m. my time.
Yeah.
If we did 5 a.m. my time, your time, it'd be 3.
We should just do it before we go to bed. No, exactly. We don't do 9 p.m. Of course we don't. So I'd be interested. So what is you've renamed your business. You've renamed your Instagram and it's D-Method Virtual.
Yes.
D-Method Virtual. So, and it's beautiful. It's all black and white.
Yes.
It's photos. It's so fabulous. I love it. Okay. So the business, you are still in the building, not you, but your Val, which which has worked with you for many, many years.
Many years. Yeah. So, Val's like my number 2. Val's amazing. Great instructor. Such one of my closest friends. And she is essentially opening up. Well, she has opened. She just had her, first week, opened up her own business called Southside Pilates. So she's staying in the exact same spot that D-Method was, but under her own business. So she's going to be focusing on Pilates and different types of classes. She's going to be having, I'm not sure on all the different names, but there'll be some that are bar focused, some like sculpt and stretch. And then she's also bringing kind of a Pilates kickboxing type, class. Yeah. It's going to be great.
That is great.
Yeah.
And all your instructors are the majority.
Yes, are going to stay there. And a lot of the clients that are local. So it's great because everyone's already comfortable there. They all love Val. So everyone that's local, unless they're training virtually with me, has a great home, to do it. So it's best scenario.
I know. And it worked out so well.
So happy for her.
Can stay in the building and just stay with that whole same thing. So, through the years and you have guided me, and I'm actually going to pick your brain even more so, but with different, you always put in your, I'm trying to get this out. So when you walk into D-Method, before COVID, let's say that, you would have your favorite things. I kind of, equate that with Oprah having your favorite things. So you have us addicted to the lotion and the bath, what am I trying to say?
Bath gel.
Yeah. Clean. Yeah. And your candles and things like that. So what was it? That was another arm of your business, but was that profitable? Or was it just kept your brand? Does that make sense?
Yes, and the answer is both. It was profitable. It was profitable, but I was always very like strict on that. I would only ever sell anything in there if it was something that I personally loved and stood behind. And so I think that's why it did so well, because I feel like people trusted that it was a great product. And so it was the things that I used personally, and we used it in the studio. So I think people, just like we had one studio scent, that Lindenwood by Archipelago, that's the candle that was in there. And people come in and they would say, oh my gosh, it smells so great in here. We used the candle and the diffuser. So people associated that one smell with the studio. So we sold that. And then we had all those products in our bathroom. So, you know, it was both, because then we knew we were going to use it. So when I was first getting into it, it was really low risk, right? Because if people didn't buy it, well, we knew we were going to use it anyways.
I love that.
So that was, there was that too aspect of it. But yes, it was profitable also.
That's so great. And then you would do different types of workout wear. I mean, athletic wear and athleisure wear almost, right?
Exactly.
So you would do that. And how do you, I'm doing this right now, like in the branding and then influencing. How do you decide? You just try it. And then if it's, and you and I are really picky about our tights.
So leggings. What I got into really quickly is with brands is I flat out said, I'm not making an order unless you have to send it to me and I have to try it out and do a class in it and put it to my own test and see what it feels like doing it, because otherwise I'm not placing an order. And some of them would be fine with that. And some would say, nope, you have to do an order and then you can do that. And then you can return it if you want. And so I just would only order with companies that would let me try it out first. And some would be easier to work with small businesses, so they would have smaller minimum orders. Some were not, and they'd have massive minimum orders. And I just wouldn't, work with those companies.
No, and that's unusual that they would send something. That would be a red flag for me, for sure, right? Some of the greatest things, and I guess you live and learn. You do that. If you kept the business open now, would you continue that model, or
I think so. I think what I did, it took me, the whole retail thing with the clothes, there was definitely a learning curve, because it took me a while to figure out how much of each size to order. Do I order? So ultimately I learned that order less than you think you need to. And I would rather order more often to have, I would rather run out of something and have to order you another size or something, as opposed to having too much, product.
Correct.
Because of course they're going to always try to talk you into having a big order.
Right.
And that's not necessarily, because it seemed to be the same people that are kind of buying things. So you have to think of it as, okay, well, if this customer is going to buy this outfit, they may not also be buying this other outfit in another week. It may be
right
in the next shipment, in the fall, something like that.
So how is, if you, starting, for those of those listening out there, starting a business, to me, I'm not a good manager. I'm not a good manager. Because I've never been, I'm 55 years old and I've never been, like manage people, because I have a very difficult time saying what I want. Greg has, golly, managed thousands of people in his career and he has no problem. He will coach me and I still go, it's my personality. I can't. So how has it been for you? Because you're a people person, you're a people pleaser, but how has it been drawing boundaries with employees? Because one of the people in my life says it's like babysitting, because, just a different industry, totally different industry. And how has that been like for you? Is there sleepless nights?
Yeah, it's definitely been hard, and it's been hard, and I have had to put up lots of boundaries. I've had to be very careful, because I tend to get close with people, that I work with. And then when there comes time to where I have to put that boss hat on, that can be hard. So I've definitely had to, put up some boundaries. But the other thing is that I feel like I've just grown a thick skin, and I've learned to not let things rattle me as much as they used to. And as far as And I guess I've learned to take kind of criticism and a critique, because when I pull people into, say, like a meeting to have, like, maybe I'm upset with something, or someone's upset with me, an employee, and I'm talking with them. So a lot of times just listening to them, like letting someone talk and vent, usually that tends to be enough. Like the art of listening is just so valuable. Usually if employees just feel like they're being heard, seems like that does,
Right.
wonders.
Back in my early career, and I have said this many times on the podcast, I really didn't like the old Tiffy, how I behaved, because when I was doing strictly television and someone else got to do something, or a show that I wanted to do, I didn't take it real well. And today, the me today, there's a reason. You know what I mean? There is a reason. Now there's politics. There's that.
Sure.
So, and I didn't even realize that was a thing back once upon a time. But, now, and I'm learning, but I'm also very emotional. I said that at the beginning, to try to listen, because words you can't take back.
Exactly.
You can't take the words back. And so
true.
It's difficult to, and even, in my marriage, my goodness, to listen. I mean, I can't even imagine. And you're dealing with how many employees? I mean,
like 10, 12.
Yeah. And a lot of different personalities, right? And
kind of learn what makes everyone tick. And,
right. Right. And Greg would say to me from time to time with his employees, sometimes it's an office, corner office, it's money, it's title. You don't know what makes that person be the salesperson or the manager that they're going to be. Like Greg always says, learn their language. Like learn their language, and it's
yes, that's so true.
Business is, it's just
that's so true, because I've chatted with Val about this before, of kind of giving her some pointers, is that you learn what makes each individual employee tick. Like I would know, okay, this employee, the most important thing with them is they need full transparency. If I can be as truthful as I can with them, tell them the real scoop with what's going on, that's what they need. This person needs to feel like a diva. They need to feel like they are like, wow, the number two. Like they need their ego stroked.
Right.
This person needs to feel this way. This person. And so you kind of get everyone's, and it sounds complicated, but it's not. It makes things a lot easier. You just kind of learn what each individual person needs. But it's no different than like your friends, right? You kind of learn what you do, what each person needs in a friendship, and you give it to them because you love them, and that's what
exactly. Yeah, what fills their love bank for sure. Yeah, right. That's true. That's true. But to me, that would be managing multiple people. Would be that would be a challenge for me, because I want everyone to love me. I just want love.
You got to get over that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, everyone just get over love me. Yeah. It's gonna be great. If you love me, it's all great.
Yeah,
but
you
then,
get over that. Though.
Yeah. Back, I've had this conversation with my daughter, because for many times, and I'm wondering if you've ever done this. So you're upset, and you start to write the email. You start to write the text, right? I have learned to go to sleep.
Yes.
But make sure you don't put the sender.
Right.
Whoops.
Oopsies.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't really mean to call you all this name. But I have learned to write the email. Go ahead and write it, or write a note, or whatever the case may be. But wait and really do think about it the next morning.
Yes.
That has been my whole career. It's been like that, because I sent the email one time. And, talk about burning bridges, but I think that's the best advice, is to not be emotional, and because things always look so different. And I've had to do this, and I was like, oh, I left that out too. You know what I mean? So having a clear mind when you're going through, am I wrong? I mean,
no, you're right. I remember my dad gave me that advice, and it was some of the best advice I've ever gotten. He said, look, you always have the power to still say something. You can always say it, but you can't take it back once you've said it. So just, you can always still say it. So don't be in a rush to say it.
Right.
But you can't take it back once you've said it.
No,
so
you can't. Yeah.
Just, hold off for a little bit. Don't ever, do anything, rash. Think through it.
Right. And I always
think it's so true.
With my listeners and viewers, I just want, if they could get one, or two, maybe two, two things that they can grasp out of each podcast. You know what I mean? Like something to take, because I have a lot of 19 to, early, late 30s. And that's
a big one.
That's a big years of that you can make mistakes, and someone was telling me the other day, oh no, I never make mistakes. And they were dead serious. I don't make mistakes. I've not made. And I'm like, I have learned more from my mistakes in my life. I'm on my third marriage, for love. I've made more mistakes and I've learned more than my success. Seriously. It's amazing. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's the mistakes I've made. Boy, I learned they hurt. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, just interesting. So,
I totally agree.
I know. So you excited to go?
I'm excited. It's bittersweet. Like I said, I'll miss my Shane, and we're going to spend the weekend together next, weekend, and, spend some time together. But, so we'll miss people,
sure.
There'll be people that we miss, and certain things, places in Fort Worth we'll miss, but we're ready,
Yeah,
it's time.
It's time.
It's ready. I'm ready.
Yeah. And Steve, gosh, he gets to fly now.
Yes. And we'll have a few months off before he starts. So
really?
We're going to travel. We just planned a great road trip to go up the coast of California into Oregon and Washington. And so we're excited.
Oh, I'm so jealous of that. And you, I think about this a lot, and, some of my best friends, and you're definitely my best friends, but like Meg, okay, I see Meg, oh gosh, maybe once or twice a month. She's just 20 miles away.
Right.
I see her once or twice a month. I talk to her, not very often. She's so busy, 4 seasons, but I see you 3 times a week.
Right.
And it's just, I guess when you have that, I see Paul 3 or 4 times a week. You know what I mean? It's just like that. You know what I mean? It's just interesting because your clients are definitely
right.
They've been with you.
They have. Oh yeah. Some of them for almost 20 years.
The Millers took care of you when
they totally did.
I know.
Oh man.
So it's just I congratulate you. I admire the heck out of you because you're the businesswoman I want to be.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if that's going to happen to people.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, so get ready. You're going to have to mentor me. But, I'm just so happy. You can also, your sister's close. Your parents have to be just jumping up and down.
Oh, they're so excited.
So excited. And you get to see your nephew and
my niece coming up.
To be.
Niece to be. July 25th.
I know. Well, I'm so happy for you. I'm finally happy that we had time to get on the show. You were coming on and then COVID said,
I know.
No, you're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere.
You're
Sorry.
not going anywhere. And I'm going to miss you, and I love you to pieces.
Oh, love you
and
too.
Everyone, you need to follow. If you want to see what's going on in her life, just go to her personal. It's SJD Perry on Instagram, and then it's at D Method Virtual. So just so cool. Simone, that you're working with. She's your
Simone is a genius. Yes,
social media manager that's helping, and we're going to have this clip and everything on their social media here shortly. And thank you. I love you, Stephanie Perry.
Love you too, Tiffany.
And you know what? Cheers. This is your favorite. This is
my
the Schramsberg.
Oh,
yeah, she's a bubble girl. Go. All right, cheers. Everybody follow me on the Instagram, Tiffany C. Blackman. And please do me a huge favor. If you are watching, or if you're not, just go ahead and go on over to YouTube. And if you will rate and review, because you know what? Climbing up in that Apple world is just it takes a lot. So if you would rate and review me, please, and tell us what you think and comment on YouTube. And everyone, thank you. Be safe and always be fabulous.